You're going to get a kick out of this one. It's almost fictitious. We're on video 2 dealing with writers' critique groups within the Critiquing Experience video series. And I'm realizing this is going to be a bit of a cautionary tale. When you join a writer's critique group, you're going to run into a lot of cliquish people. I mean, hell, why should that be any different than all aspects of our society anyway? And I don't think it's going to matter whether it's an in-person group or an online group. Actually, online groups are probably even worse because people can protect their anonymity behind a keyboard over potentially hundreds and thousands of miles away. But potentially worse than the predictable cliquishness is you're going to run into bullies. Literary bullies? Let that concept sink in for a second. Their mission is kind of obvious. They're going to demean your writing. They're going to demean you for writing it in the hopes that you will come to the realization that maybe you shouldn't be in this reading group. Maybe you shouldn't be a writer, period. Maybe you should just quit. And they're hoping that you do, because if that happens, that's one less aspiring writer they have to do battle with in the marketplace. Kind of a wuss move. But as I saw this happening, and as I had it happen to me once or twice, I realized there's got to be something more to it than just them being immature and, experiencing the thrills of the internet for the first time in their lives. It's got to be something deeper than that. And after giving it some thought, I concluded there's 2 possible reasons they're doing this. The first one is that they're serving as gatekeepers, literary gatekeepers, genre-specific gatekeepers, doesn't matter. Believe me when I say I've had my fill of gatekeepers from the music world. This band is exactly what we want to listen to. This band has achieved status to be admitted into the holy sanctum of the prog rock subgenre, but this band has not. And that is because this is the way we believe it should be, aka this is the way I think it should be, aka this is the way I like it. And as far as fiction goes, we'll use the genre of science fiction since that's the one I probably know best. This story is exactly what science fiction should be. The rest of these are not, because this is exactly what we have decided. And if I'm making gatekeeping sound silly, well, it sounds that way to me anyway. I noticed in this one group, this one guy was very critical of certain stories, not just one of mine, but a bunch of other people as well. And I decided to look into what these other people wrote. I mean, there's all kinds of different science fiction subgenre, subgenre, whatever. And this is just a few as a sample. The epic space operas. There is the hard science fiction. There's horror science fiction. There is earthbound science fiction where somebody perverts basic science or physics and causes a whole bunch of troubles. Then when I finished that comparison, I looked to see what this guy wrote, what kind of sub-genre he chose, and I found that everything he was bashing was different from what he wrote. And I also found an occurrence where somebody whose story he praised and was highly complimentary of was the same sub genre that he preferred. Now, I understand you have your preferences, but when you're in a writer critique group, you don't have any business to bash someone else's chosen genre or subgenre or whatever because it's not yours. A couple days ago, I released a video saying how they lumped science fiction and fantasy writers into the same group, which made no sense to me. But I also told you my efforts to not say anything bad about them just because they chose the wrong genre. To me, that means nothing. You write what you like to write. I'll write what I like to write. Other than that, no judgment. These literary bullies, they don't get that. Now, that kind of condition, that kind of mindset isn't as prevalent as the next one I'm going to talk about, and that's the literary bully. I'm sorry, I still can't stop laughing at that term. He or she will read a manuscript and say, oh my goodness, this person is good. Oh my goodness, this person knows their science. They know their physics. Oh my goodness, this person tells fantastic stories and characters that have me interested. Oh my goodness, I can't compete with this. So why should I? I'm going to bully the hell out of them until they give up. Let's see if they have the stomach for this business. These people shouldn't even be allowed in critique groups. Like certain people shouldn't be allowed to have driver's license, but that's an entirely different video. So in other words, that's something you're going to have to look forward to. Hopefully you won't see it. That'd be cool if you didn't. But in the event you do not feel like you're giving up because you walk away from groups or individual literary bullies who treat you this way. You're not a failure. You're just simply looking for someone who's actually going to give you value in their critiques of your works. That's what you really want. But on the flip side of that coin, you are going to run into situations or occurrences where no matter how good your manuscript is, no matter what group you're in, you're going to get negative feedback. And the reason for that is, and no aspiring writer wants to admit to this, your manuscript may not be all that good anyway. Pay attention to how that negative information is delivered to you. I had one person who wrote in fairly big letters on my manuscript that I needed to do better research on a particular topic. Now, there may have been a time in my life where I took high offense to that, but it was simply a suggestion of something that I should do. And I realized there's no malice here. There's no intent to get me to quit. There's an invitation for me to strive for better. And so I did it. And that leads me to an important point. It's one of my axioms of the universe, I guess you could say. You and you alone are responsible for how you interpret the words that are said to you. Be honest with yourself. But if you choose not to take it as a personal dig, but as a personal challenge, all the better. And besides, don't we all have enough nonsense to deal with in our personal lives as it is? Be aware of this disclaimer. The bits of advice offered in this video are the sole opinions of the host author, not to be taken as gospel, not to be followed to the letter without personal variation on your part. I'm going to have to read this one. And one should always take personal responsibility for following the aforementioned advice, as if said advice was your idea in the first place. These bits of advice are meant as suggestion, as artistic motivation, as artistic inspiration. Or you can simply accept the fact that I'm having a whole lot of fun doing these videos.